Dunning-Kruger, when the unskilled aren't always confident. Introduction. The Dunning-Kruger effect is often boiled down to the catchy claim that incompetent people overestimate their ability. While this captures a kernel of truth, research shows that self-assessment biases vary with the type of task, can arise partly from statistical artifacts like regression toward the mean, and are moderated by cultural norms. To appreciate the full complexity of Dunning-Kruger, we will explore 1. How task characteristics shape confidence judgments. 2. The role of regression artifacts in producing apparent overestimation. And 3. How cultural and domain factors, task type dependencies, not all skills yield the same bias. Confidence miscalibration varies dramatically depending on the nature of the task. Objective versus subjective tasks. On purely objective tasks, such as solving math problems with right or wrong answers, novices often overrate their performance. By contrast, in subjective or preference-based tasks, e.g., rating the aesthetic value of artworks, confidence levels tend to align more closely with individual tastes rather than actual accuracy, making the classical accuracy overestimation pattern less pronounced. Complexity and feedback availability tasks. In complex, ambiguous tasks, e.g., diagnosing medical condition, novices may not realize their errors. Familiar versus novel domains. In domains where people have minimal background, new technical skills, or unfamiliar languages. Kruger, conversely, in areas that seem intuitively accessible like cooking or driving, beginners may overinflate their mastery until they hit real challenge. These patterns show that the tendency to over or underestimate does not reside solely in the person, but emerges from the dynamic interaction between skill level and task characteristic. Regression artifacts, the statistical mirage of overestimation, part of the classic Dunning-Kruger curve, can be attributed to a statistical phenomenon rather than pure cognitive bias regression toward the mean. Both low and high tend to report values closer to the group average. Thus, low scorers overestimate and high scorers underestimate. This symmetric regression effect creates the familiar mountain shape of over and underestimations. Scale compression, self-assessment scales often have fixed endpoints, e.g., 0, 100%. Very high performers have little room to express additional confidence. Low performers see more upward space to err, exaggerating their self-ratings. Correcting for artifacts, statistical reanalyses that adjust for regression effects and ceiling floor constraints, leaving room for genuine metacognitive cautioning against overinterpretation of raw overconfidence metrics. Understanding these artifacts, some arise simply from how data and scales behave. 3. Cultural and domain-specific moderators. Confidence is contextual self-assessment. Cultural norms in individualistic cultures that valorize self-promotion. People, even novices, tend to report higher confidence, amplifying overestimation. Collectivist cultures, which emphasize humility and deference, often show lower average self-ratings, sometimes masking actual competence. Professional socialization in domains with rigorous training and frequent peer review. Medicine, entrepreneurship, creative writing may foster persistent miscalibration among newcomers. Role of incentives when confident carries tangible rewards. Job prospects, status, financial gain. Individuals may strategically inflate their self-ratings in anonymous research settings without stakes. The Dunning-Kruger effect is generally attenuated, underscoring the interplay between motivation and metacognition. These moderators demonstrate that self-assessment is embedded in social and institutional contexts, varying not only by individual skill, but by cultural scripts and domain conventions. Conclusion. The Dunning-Kruger effect is richer and more conditional than the pithy slogan, "Incompetent people always overestimate themselves." Task characteristics determine whether novices err on the high or low side of confidence. Regression artifacts contribute to, and cultural, professional, and motivational factors shape how and how much people misjudge their own abilities. By appreciating these nuances, calibrate self-evaluation more effectively, and foster environments where accurate self-insight is both encouraged and rewarded.